With election year already here, one major concern in the minds of analysts is how the business landscape will be affected. There is also concern about how the policies of the incoming administration will affect investors. Today on the show, we'll analyze the economic policies of top presidential candidates and critical areas of the economy that must be attended to. Joining us to speak more on this is Olaide Banu. Olaide Banu is research analyst with Atlas Portfolio Limited. He joins us virtually. Hello, Banu. Good to have you join us today.
Hello, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Good to have you join us today.
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I said good to have you join us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right. And happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
All right. Well, going into the 2023 elections, talk to us. Do you have concerns regarding the economy? Or let me put it this way. What are your greatest concerns regarding the economy?
Yeah, the greatest concern, I would say, going into the presidential election this year and looking at the existing economic policy we are having and looking at the economic manifestos of other the contestants we are having, the three major contestants we are having though. So currently we understand, okay, the federal government, the National Assembly has passed the 2022 Finance Act to the president for signing, and we understand there are some policies coming, economic policy coming in that fiscal aspect of it, which includes the import levy of imported goods coming out of Africa of 0.5%. We understand the excise duty on all services. Also, all these are likely to increase reduce the purchasing power of the citizen. We also understand that we have the existing monetary policy rate, which is already at 16.5%, and which is reducing the borrowing power of investors in the companies in order to invest in the economy at large. And another one is the existing high inflation rate of 21.47% and all this all together
If I can hear you correctly, you were talking about some of the monetary policies or some of the prevailing economic indices in the country or indicators in the country, talking about the high interest rate regime, that's the MPR, which has been hiked by the Monetary Policy Committee. If I get you correctly, I'd like you to continue on that thought.
Yeah, so from there, I also made mention of the high inflation rates we are currently experiencing, not only in Nigeria, globally. And looking at all this all together, the presidential aspirant has come up to say, okay, they are coming up with a policy that's going to impact the economic growth, and by way of investing investing in manufacturing in order to add value to what we are producing inward. And also we understand that currently we are experiencing high FX challenge in the country, in which our FX dollar to naira rate has been very high. So we all know that, okay, what's going to give the naira a strength is adding value to what we are producing inward here. So the majority of the aspirants has also been saying, okay, they are going to add value to what we are producing inward. So which I believe, okay, 2023, if well implemented, going to it's actually a long-term project for the aspirants. But currently, where we have, based on the existing economic policy, it's a great challenge because of the FX challenge, the inflation rates, and other the incoming finance bill.
All right.
That actually affects the purchasing power of the Nigerian citizens.
I like how that you've highlighted some of the economic challenges we're having at the moment, including some of the policies, and then talking about the finance. But that's very, very important that you touched on the import levy and the excise duty, and how that will affect the purchasing power of the everyday Nigerian. Now, quickly, do you think the top presidential candidates have demonstrated good knowledge of the economic issues in the country, vis-a-vis some of the policy statements that they have made so far?
Yeah, if you look at one of them, they've actually, based on their experience, which they've attained before in terms of being a governor, so to say, and also a vice president. You understand what I mean by not naming them anyway. So the based on their experience, I believe they have the power, and they also have the courage to make use of the opportunity of being a president if emerged, and also implement their economic policy in terms of adding value to what we are producing inwards. And also, if we remember the recently the only major source of our export, I mean our imports, which has been the petroleum, and the only rely Nigeria is currently having now is the Dangote refinery, which is expected to come upstream within the first quarter, and worst case scenario, second quarter of this year. And if this begin operation now optimally, we believe that okay, yes, the FX challenge we are currently having in Nigeria we reduced to a minimum.
All right. Well, very quickly now, I want us to deviate a little. While some analysts and industry watchers have scored the monetary authority quite above the average, they have averred that the fiscal authority needs to level up for the needed changes to be seen. What are your thoughts here quickly before we get back to the policy statements of these presidential candidates?
Yeah, the monetary policy have actually took up the challenge, and even doing more than the monetary policy capacity which they have. We remember the various other interventions the CBN has done in various years, and on the MPR, which the CBN has increased from 30.5% to 16.5% currently we have now. So the CBN have actually took up the challenge, and also they have the various policy coming in terms of the FX challenge, the RT 200 something policy, and other ones in order to boost the local production in the country. So the monetary policy have actually tried above average, so as the other analysts said, but what we actually lack in that manner is the synergy between the fiscal policy and the monetary policy.
All right. Well, there are those, I think you already agree with this, talking about how that the top three presidential candidates will actually be good for the market. So very quickly, I'd like us to take a quick look at their economic agenda, the economic agenda of some of these people. Let's start with PDP's presidential candidate, that's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. To a very large extent, he has minced no words on his stance on a capitalist economy, and he's talking about one that's characterized by privatization and also driven by market forces. Let me ask you, do you think this is a viable solution to Nigeria's economic challenges?
Yeah, to an extent, is one of the viable what we have actually been experiencing in the past is the manner at which the privatization of the likes of the PHCN, which was done recently during the era of the President Goodluck Jonathan, and other privatization we've had earlier. So what is needed is the manner in which the privatization will be done, and also we believe if it's being done well, then we believe that it's going to go a long way, because normally government doesn't have business in business, as they always say, and the major source of income to major governments has been on taxes, so which government have actually been campaigning for in the past years. So privatization is actually a good way, but the manner of which it will be done also matters a lot.
Well, that's something that so many analysts have also talked about, and there are those who are saying that when we talk about capitalization, they have their concerns. Well, a capitalist economy, beg your pardon, they have their concerns, and they are saying, well, a capitalist economy may not care so much about the hungry, may not care so much about the 133 million poor Nigerians. Do you think, do you agree with that thought? Or do you think at the end of the day, capitalism is going to address some of these issues?
Yeah, I believe capitalism is going to address some of these issues. So anyway, when it comes to economic policy, they always come with their goods and the bad side of it. So the benefit of it is okay. Yes, you are going to have ability to to produce what, I mean, to make use of what we produce in what.
All right. Well, if you can hear me very well, I'd like us to probably just move on to Obi. That's the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Well, Peter Obi, on the other hand, is mulling production as against consumption. This is something he's been saying even before he released his manifesto. And for him, his manifesto highlighted his desire to build expansive and world-class infrastructure for efficient power supply, rail, road and air transportation, pipeline network through integrated public-private partnerships and entrepreneurial public sector governance. This is something that he has highlighted in his policy document. How much of a solution do you think this is? All right, if you can hear me, I'd like you to comment on this.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so I asked a question about Obi, who has been talking about production over consumption, and his manifesto highlighted his desire to build expansive and world-class infrastructure for efficient power supply, rail, road, and air transportation, pipeline network through integrated public-private partnerships and entrepreneurial public sector governance. I'd like you to talk about this. How much of a solution is this? Unpack this for us.
Actually, this solution listed this only solution in Nigeria. Actually, we need production and we need infrastructure. The major infrastructure we are lacking in Nigeria is power supply. If you notice, majority of companies have actually shut down because of low power supply and the cost of energy, which is actually increasing. So, in terms of electricity, in terms of other infrastructures, yes, we need it, and also we need production inward. Look at the likes of Japan, China, Korea. They started with production, and they are one of the top economic in the world as we speak now. So, production is actually what we need, and it's well going to strengthen our own currency inward here. So, it's going to go a long way, and is the way forward for us in this country.
Well, do you see any likely challenges or bottlenecks that he's going to face on his path to achieving this? Because, I mean, these are things we talk about. Analysts say this, even everyday Nigerians talk about these things. Why is it a problem to put them in place? So how are we sure that, how is he going to make that needed change if these solutions have been out there even before now and they haven't been put to use?
What we actually lack, which one of the campaign that the current president stated during his campaign in the past, has been the corruption side of it. So if government can actually reduce corruption to the barest minimum and let everything work as expected, as supposed to be, so I believe is going to work. It's not about the financing part of it; it's about the will to do it and to do it well.
All right. Very quickly, let's look at our Progressive Congress candidate. That's Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah, sure. Well, top on his priority list of action plan, we have national security. He talks about the economy. He talks about agriculture. He talks about power and oil and gas, transportation and education. And then some analysts actually have said the section of the document on oil and gas lacks technical depth. I mean, they're talking about, he was saying something about, maybe critical infrastructure for gas pipeline, and some persons are saying you can't talk about critical infrastructure for gas pipeline without talking about, the processing. What are you going to do about the processing? What are you going to do about, maybe gas flag? What are you going to do about, bringing companies, either local or the international investors, to come in and invest in this place? You don't just talk about the infrastructure, the pipelines and all of that without necessarily looking at, okay, what exactly is going to go through the pipelines? That's one. And also for oil, they are saying that he didn't really say so much about what he's going to do to fight oil theft. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, based on the economic agenda for that, so to say, looking at the pipeline infrastructure as you stated, we noticed that, okay, yes, the NNG has actually been trying for what they've been doing in the past, but the ability, what they'll be doing has not been good. I mean, strong enough. We'll be experiencing various gas flaring, which we are not able to produce up to our consumption level in the country. So the infrastructure is actually needed as.
All right, if I get you correctly, you're talking about how that infrastructure is all definitely needed. Please go ahead if you can hear me. Bano, if you can hear me, please, I'd like you to continue on that line of thought.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
I can hear you, Olaide. If you can hear me, do go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, I guess we'll take a break now while we'll fix that. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hello?
Thank you for staying with us. Olaide Bano is still here with us. Olaide, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like you to continue from that thought you were sharing on Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, manifesto.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the infrastructure on the gas pipeline is actually needed, and also the infrastructure in order to make use of, to combat the gas flaring and make use for the local use, which is not even sufficient on what we have currently. And we notice we are still importing some LPG, so to say. So the infrastructure to absorb the excess gas which we are flaring to the air now is actually needed, and this is going to go a long way. But the will from the government in order to place all this infrastructure available for use is the issue now. So the will from the government side of it to do it is actually the problem we are lacking. And normally in every nation there are always people who are going to sabotage one infrastructure, one project or the other. But there is need for government to make use of the principle.
Well, if you can hear me, I'd like you to talk to speak to this. What, in your opinion, is the challenge or the economic challenge that must be worked on as soon as possible by whoever comes in as the president of Nigeria? I mean, that which probably to a very large extent affects other sectors or affects other, the ripple effect is so much that we must address it first.
Yeah, the major one is the production, as people have been saying and stated in the
when we talk about production, what are the challenges? Why is it a problem? Why do we have that production issue? What are the things? What are the causes? What are the factors that are responsible for that?
The major factors are the facilities and the infrastructure, so to say. For example, the electricity, and another example, the FS liquidity for people to make, for investors to come into Nigeria to invest, another to repatriate their investment easily. So these are one of the major challenges. Another one is the insecurity we are having. Nobody wants to come to a place where where his investment is more secure, 99%, so to say, because everywhere there's insecurity challenges. But at least to a reasonable state in which you can, okay, your investment is well secured, your infrastructure is well secured coming into the country. So the infrastructure from the government side, and also the security issue we are having with another one is the FX challenge you have. So if the government can put all those things into place, then everything will work well.
All right, let's have your parting shot on the show.
I didn't get you clearly.
Let's have a parting shot.
Yeah, so coming to 2023, interesting year. But however, Nigeria needs to be aware of other economic challenges coming, other difficulties coming into the 2023, like.
All right, Olaide Bano, many thanks for joining us on the show for today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.